all about that consistency, sticking to it. One of the interesting things you mentioned about wrestling, and I was going to ask you about that. Um, that's where I think the American scene is kind of different to the Australian scene.
Mhm.
Um, you guys, you got that really good wrestling base, and pretty much in Australia, like it's starting to come a little bit more now from the rise of MMA, but the side of wrestling that you guys have was pretty much non-existent in Australia, man.
Really?
Um, yeah, so the actual pure wrestling, like I know you guys do that for like high school and things like that.
Mhm.
Like in Australia, the sport of wrestling is like really small.
Wow.
Like it's
So it oh, sorry. So in Australia, is the growth of MMA, is it still kind of fairly new in your era?
so it's come to the forefront now. Like there's a lot of dudes that are smashing it now. Especially from like near where I'm from. So I live in Sydney, and you see a lot of the UFC fighters now coming from like Western Sydney,
Okay.
like Tai Tuivasa, um, and those types of dudes. Robert Whitaker,
Mhm.
all those dudes are from Sydney. So like it's getting a really big scene, especially in Western Sydney. It's huge,
Okay.
man.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say Robert Whitaker, hands down, is I'd say one of my all-time favorite middleweight fighters because like the Reaper. You wouldn't expect from as charismatic and friendly guy as he is, the moment he steps in the cage, he lives up to the hype of the Reaper. And then you got Tai Tuivasa, you just mentioned as well. I was so bummed that he lost against Cyril Gane. Like I knew it was gonna be a really tough match, but I was really rooting for Tai Tuivasa in that one.
Oh, he's a beast, man. He's a straight up beast. And you see if you ever come to Sydney, man, the Islander community here is massive. Um, and those guys, man, they can just fight. They're great fighters, and they're just built for it, man. They're
Mhm.
strong, they're quick, they're durable, and they're just built for fighting, man.
Yeah.
Fighting in rugby league.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Alexander Volkanovski, who competed in rugby, and now it's just he's a freak athlete. So a lot of the people that compete in rugby, I give a lot of credit to. They take a brutal beating with all the stuff that they do, from what I see, but they are tough.
Yeah, yeah, they're built tough, man. And
Mhm.
Alex Volkanovski is from Wollongong, so that's about an hour and a half south of Sydney.
Okay.
Yeah, so like on the east, around Sydney and Wollongong is where like the scene is really massive. Um, and then you got Melbourne and Queensland as well. So basically, the whole east coast of Australia, like the MMA scene, is pretty large.
Okay. Okay, that's pretty interesting. And since we're on the subject, I have to ask because I know that when we were originally trying to schedule this, I was a bit confused on like the time zone. You're about 17 hours ahead, 17, 18 hours ahead,
Yeah, so at the moment it's 2 p.m. here.
2 p.m. And is it November 5th or 6th for you?
It's the 6th.
See, that's so crazy. So in a way, I'm talking to you into the future because right now,
That's it, bro. Yeah,
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 right now
100%.
it's